Paper crafters, this is Collette. Today I'd love to show you how I've made this gorgeous Mother's Day card with its beautiful pop-up bouquet. So let's get started. We're going to start off on the actual bouquet itself. Now, in order to make that bouquet, I have actually used this glorious paper here, which is from the Cottage Rose collection from Kaisercraft, and it's called Garden, full of beautiful, beautiful roses. And what I needed to do to make that card was to cut this into 7 4 by 4 inch squares and 1 4 by 6 inch squares. So I've gone ahead and done that. But I've chosen to use a different sheet of paper for my demonstration on the video, and this again is also from the Cottage Rose collection from Kaisercraft, and this one is called Wallpaper. So I've cut my squares, and this is one of the 4 by 4 inch squares, and now we need to fold this, and the fold is going to be the same for each of those 7 4 by 4 inch squares. So let's get started. So first of all, with the pattern side up, we need to fold that in half. And as always when we're folding, use the bone folders to give a nice crisp burnish. So I've got my open bit up here. I'm now going to fold this over again. Okay. Now for the next fold, what I need to do is I need to make sure that my folded edge is on my left and I have all the open edges at the top. The folded ones are at the bottom. So fold is here and along here. Then what I'm going to do is take my top layer. I'm going to zoom this in just a bit more because we've got a little bit smaller now. I'm going to take my top layer and fold that back to the side. Okay, so it's folded back to the side. And I'm going to burnish that. Now I'm going to take the top layer again and fold this back into the center. Okay, so just to recap, my folded edge is down here and along here. Now I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So folding it and folding it back. So we end up with something that looks like this, and just to recap, I have a folded edge here and all these edges on this side, all 4 of them are all folded. Now what I need to do is I need to cut these into a petal shape, and just to show you on the video, I'm actually going to cut these or mark it up just for you. You don't need to do this, but it might make it easier. And I'm just going to grab my beautiful gel pen from these. If you haven't seen these for your colouring in, guys, they are just absolutely divine. They flow so beautifully, but the red one will just help me to zoom in and to show you what I'm going to be doing with my scissors. So I'm going to cut from about this point here, and I'm going to arch it up to this point. Okay, so that's where I'm going to cut. I always find some good heavy duty scissors for this are useful. So just following that line. Now you won't need to have that line, you can just do this visually. So I've cut to that halfway point. Now in order to make the other side the same shape, I'm going to take the top circle and fold that over, and then I can follow that line around. So that way I have got symmetry on both sides. So opening that up now, I should have a nice flower, all balanced and all the same. Okay, Now you need to repeat that, as I said before, with all 7 of your 4" by 4" squares. Now once you've done that, we can get on to the next stage. And that next stage is to simply cut away one of those petals. So it doesn't matter which petal, just follow your fold lines and just cut away one of those petals. Okay, don't need that anymore, so that can go into the bin. Now I'm going to repeat that process with a 2 by 2" piece of paper, which is going to contrast nicely with my main flower. And this particular piece of paper I took from the paper pad, which is from the Cottage Rose collection. And as you all know, love these to pieces, but my goodness, how beautiful and shabby chicy is this particular collection. So you can see I've actually used the pink one, which I think I passed earlier on. Anyhow, it's in here. There we go. So I've used this beautiful pink quilted one for my inner. So for the inner pieces, we need to cut 7 2" by 2" squares. And I'm going to fold those in exactly the same way. So just to repeat that, pattern side up, folding it in half, burnishing it, folding it in half again, burnishing it. Now, making sure I have my fold line to the left and all my folds to the bottom, I'm going to take the bottom right hand side and fold half of that up to that folded edge on the left. And then I'm going to actually take that flap on the top and fold that down. Gosh, this is tiny, isn't it? This isn't a flower you want to be, a card you want to be making for everyone. You can see it does take a little bit of work, but it is so special and so pretty. I think it's definitely worth it, especially for a Mother's Day card. Do the same on the other side, so folding in half and folding in half again. So following that same principle, I don't need to use a pencil line, but what I want you to do with the little flowers is to actually start much lower down, so cut them about halfway. I just felt that working with a smaller square, so I've cut that halfway. I'm going to fold that top bit over so I can follow the angle. So yeah, I felt that working with like a 1" by 1" was way too hard, so I thought it'd be better off to cut a bigger square and then just cut more off of it, and that will work out. So just opening this little guy up, you can see we have a lovely little flower, and exactly the same as before, I'm going to cut away just one of the petals. Okay, so just to recap, we need to do that. We need to have 7 petals from our 4" squares, and we need to have 7 petals cut smaller but using our 2" by 2" squares to start off with. So once we've done that, we're going to glue these together to form circles. So just take your preferred glue runner. This is the Kaisercraft one. Remember guys, when you're using it, to flip it back. So what I've actually done is I have put some glue on one of the petals beside the cut, and I'm going to take this one and overlap it and then burnish that. So I end up with a little cup. Okay. I'm going to do exactly the same with a little baby petal. Okay. So overlapping that and burnishing it, and then I have the little baby one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this baby one and I'm going to put a drop of glue on the bottom. Now I'm just using Kaisercraft's acid-free craft glue. Just put a little drop here on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm just going to sit that inside here. And I like to get a skewer or something like that just to kind of hold that in place. And then I can set that aside and just set that aside to dry for a little while. So any of your nice strong glues, but I've used the Kaisercraft ones here. So set that aside to dry. And then once you've got that to that stage for all 7, we can then start to join them together. Okay. Now I find if you get into a rhythm, you can actually see, with these ones, I've just also popped in a little splash of Kinderglitz in the centre. Can you see that? And I've also used in the centre some of the gold colour from the Kaisercraft gel pens, just to colour in the centre of the little petal. Okay. So we now need to work in a system, and I really recommend that you do this and you keep yourself organised, especially for the first few times that you do this. So I'm going to take one petal, fold it down, and I'm going to place that on my mat. I'm going to take a second petal, again fold it down, place it just below that. Take my third petal, position it just below that. Again, now this one gets positioned to that side. This one gets positioned to that side. This one is over here. And this one is over here. Now now that's not what we want. We want to have the 3 petals. So I just need to refold that. I'm glad I spotted that. That could have given me a few problems. So we want the 3 petals. 1, 2, 3. We don't want half petals at all. Yep, just check the others are all fine. Now what I need to do is I need to put some glue to start attaching this whole thing together. Now, if you want a diagram of something like of this, I have got a picture on my blog, which you'll find the link to on the video later on. So you can go into my blog and you can download a photograph of this layout so you can file it away for future reference. But of course you've always got the video here to refer back to. Now what I want to do is, I know how to do this, but for the first time I suggest you follow this little tip. Just grab your nice bright red marker. So again, this is the Kaisercraft one, and just do little circles. Can you see my circles? Let me just zoom that in. I know this is all a bit strange, but just these big circles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1. 1 up here, 1 here, and 1 here. Those circles represent our glue dot placement. So I've gone ahead and I'm actually using glue dots because they're super strong, and I know a lot of people have problems sticking these down, but this is how I do them. I wrap a dot so it's visible on my finger, and I'm going to take my first petal. I've got a dot there, that's where I need to put a glue dot. So it's right there, my glue dot now has transferred. Can I just say, with the mechanism of this bouquet, it is important that you put your glue dots fairly high up in the centre of the petals where you've marked them. So just again, taking my glue dot, pressing it hard against the paper. I'm not sure you can see it, but the glue dot has adhered there beautifully. If you don't use glue dots, you need to use maybe a red extra tacky tape or just something that is really, really strong. So I'm going to go ahead now and do that for all the others, and I'll be back in just a tick. Again, all my glue dots are adhered nicely to where I had marked them previously. So now we need to assemble, and again, following that system, I'm going to take this flower on the right, and I'm going to take this and cover the right hand petal and stick that down. I'm going to take this one on the left and cover the top left hand petal and stick that down. Okay, can you see there? So I've got the right one and the left hand, and there's a free petal in the middle that I haven't covered yet. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the center petal here, and I'm going to lift that up, and I'm going to cover all 3 of those top petals. Okay, now they are a bit slippy, but don't worry, just keep them in the position. so they are covering nicely. So you can see I have got this wedge at the bottom. I always want to have that wedge. You don't cover that up. Now on to our next stage. So the next stage is I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to position that again to the right of the top petal. I'm now going to take this one here and I'm going to position that to the right, sorry, to the left of that top petal. And my final one is the petal with no glue dots. I take this and I sit this over the center so it covers that top one. Okay, now just give that a good press down and make sure that's all as it should be. Okay, now you can see my edges aren't very even. That's okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be all perfect and all precise. Now what you're going to do is get your card base. So I've just got one of the C6 white card and envelopes, sorry, card from the card and envelope packs from Kaisercraft. And what I'm going to do is the open area goes towards the fold and I need to put another glue dot in the center of this. So the glue dot has gone on that center petal. I'm going to now position that in the center of my card with that facing the fold line, and I'm going to close up my card and I'm going to burnish that really well with my finger. I'm now going to flip this over, open the card, and I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to put one glue dot, one single glue dot towards the top of that center petal. And then I'm going to close this card down. And then I want to really just take a moment to just kind of burnish that whole thing so all the glue dots inside the petals get pushed down nicely and those ones in the ends do. And now we can have fun, we can have a little reveal. So here we go. There's our beautiful bouquet all ready to go. Isn't that glorious? Such a nice surprise. Now I have to say this was not my original idea. I saw one of these a few years back, but it was for a very, very big card and it wasn't kind of as detailed as this. So what I did is I've rescoped it, I've resized it and made quite a few changes so that it does fit snugly inside a little C6 card and that it does look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I hope you like that. Now, to go back to my particular card, as you can see on the inside, before I placed my flower, I actually covered the inside with more beautiful papers from the Cottage Rose paper pad. And on the front, I continued that. This front piece was that 4x6 piece that we cut out right at the beginning, and that goes on the front. And I've just rolled this here and put a little extra piece behind. Then I added a doily. And then I've got a little bit of cheesecloth in there and a beautiful flourish from Kaisercraft. And then I've got these beautiful hydrangeas. This is one of the new release dies from Kaisercraft, which I'm going to be using a lot. It's just simply gorgeous and so pretty and feminine. And this is the die here. It's the hydrangea decorative die, hydrangea flowers. And this is what it looks like. And just a couple of tips here. If you haven't used these dies and you're new to the big shop, check back on my YouTube videos, and right at the beginning you'll find about half a dozen different videos that will show you really good techniques for using dies, right from the very basics going through to some more intricate details. But with this one, basically you cut out your leaves and your flowers. Now with your leaves, I just want to show you how absolutely gorgeous they are. Now can you see the vein details? Now you get that vein details by using your silicone mat. Okay, so don't forget to use that to go to that second step when you're actually cutting out, so you do get that beautiful embossed detail. With the actual hydrangea flowers, let me just quickly show you how I've done those. I've just got here a shaping mat. You could use a nice bouncy mouse mat if you wanted, if you didn't have one of these. And I've just cut a little bit of Teflon mat on top of this. I find it helps with the actual shaping of flowers, etc. And these are the two components to the hydrangea flowers that I've cut out on the die. So they're from here and from here. And all I have done is to simply take a little bit of glue, and because this is a fiddly process, again I'm just using Kaiser Crafts glue here, and this is just an old glue dot page that I had, and I always keep these when I finish my foam mounting squares because I use it for this kind of thing. And what you want to do is just take your tweezers, which I couldn't find, so I'm just using a skewer, and I'm just going to go into that glue, and then I'm going to go into that center of the hydrangea. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my center and pop that down. Now what I'm going to do is to take my ball tool. I haven't got my soap handy, so normally I would just rub it in soap, but I'm just going to scratch my head with it because it's pretty waxy up there. And then I'm going to take this ball tool from Kaiser Craft and then just gently curl it in. So there you go. That's the, whoops, slippery little suckers, as pretty woman would say. So that's my lovely hydrangea, and I'd finish that off with a little white pearl in the center, which would be just glorious. So once you've done that to a whole bunch of them, you're then going to stick them down onto your card, as you can see I've done here. And you can see I've just popped the little leaves underneath, and I've added some more of Kaiser Crafts green paper leaves, which are just beautiful. If you've seen my card, you know I use those lots and lots. I used Kaiser Crafts Kaiser Mist, which are beautiful iridescent spray ink, and I just liberally spritz that over, and you can see it's just given it a beautiful, soft, misty, very feminine kind of effect on the card, which I love. And then down the bottom here, I just printed out on some vellum the little sign that says Happy Mother's Day. I rolled the edges of the vellum and then just stuck a bit of glue down behind the rolls, and you can see it does kind of pop up a little bit. So that's how I've actually made my card. I really hope you like that, and I hope you give it a go, because it is a special card, and you know, there are many occasions when we do want to take time and give a very special card to someone. So don't forget to go ahead and check out my blog. There will be a diagram that you can download that will help you with the placement and the folding of those particular bouquet flowers. And I hope you've enjoyed that. My name's Collette. Thank you for watching. Oh, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, which is just down here, or down there, I can't remember which side, and that will automatically enable you to get all of my videos as I make them dropped into your inbox as soon as they're done. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.